Good morning and welcome to the Core Connection. I'm Mira Rubin here with you on Enlightened World Network. And today's topic is just pure fun. And the title is What If Everyone Had a Bird on Their Head? Because you see me here daily with Maggie flying around and she's often on my head and I think it could make a big difference in the world. So it should be a fun conversation. But before we get started, let's just take a minute to get present. Let's take a deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And imagine clean, crisp oxygen flooding into your lungs and flowing into your bloodstream and nourishing all your cells and all your organs and bringing vital life energy to your body and your being. And as you exhale any tension, any stress, negativity, fatigue. And now let's take another deep breath in through your nose and hold it. And this time, imagine brilliant, bright light lighting you up from the inside out, illuminating, electrifying, and energizing all your cells, all your molecules, your electrons, lighting you up from the inside out. And as you exhale any remaining negativity, stress, fatigue, tension. And now let's just gently press our palms together and very, very softly rub your fingers against your palms to feel the deliciousness of that sensation and bring yourselves present right here, right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So this should be fun. What if everyone had a bird on their head? So let's imagine, like what are the benefits of having a bird on your head? One of the things, I was talking with a friend yesterday and we were talking about this, and one of the things that I recognize is that we would absolutely not only take each other but ourselves a whole lot less seriously. And wouldn't that be a lovely thing? So, we often talk about intense stuff here on these morning musings, but the fact that Maggie's here and we get to enjoy her antics, I think helps to lighten the whole experience. Good morning, Isabel. If you had a bird on your head, what kind of bird would it be? So that's the question for everyone. If you had a bird on your head, what kind of bird would it be and why? And what would that bird be saying or doing? Maggie's kind of a comedian, as far as I can tell. She makes me laugh anyway. And she also has a lot to say. She knows that today is her day, right, Meg? Dumb looks are free, right? Anyway, what kind of bird would you have on your head, and what would that serve? What would that serve you, or how would that serve you? And so Rosalind says, "Good morning. I would have a cuddling kind." Good morning, Bernadette. Good morning, Rosalind. So good to have you guys here. And Isabel says a canary. So what would the bird say and do? Like, what is the benefit of having a bird on your head versus not having a bird on your head? For one, I think it gives us extra eyes and ears, right? It also helps us from getting too serious about ourselves. Isabel says they sing beautifully, the canaries. That's beautiful. So your bird would sing and create more beauty in the world. That's awesome. I think Maggie definitely keeps me from getting too full of myself. The other thing about having a bird on your head is that you get pooped on and you get to not take it personally. At least that's my experience with Maggie until I train her not to. So, we get to stay humble. And we also have a source of entertainment and joy and something that keeps us connected with something outside ourselves. What else would be a benefit of having a bird on your head? How would the world be different if we all had birds on our heads? It's funny. I was talking to my brother a while ago, and he asked me what I do with Maggie when I'm online and when I work with clients and stuff. Sometimes with clients, I relocate her because she can be very distracting, but other times my clients just really, really adore having her. And he said, well, that's real professional, like that there's a certain standard for professionalism that doesn't include having a bird on your head. And I can understand that. And yet having a bird on your head kind of makes it creates a cognitive dissonance, right? It's like here where we're doing really serious work, but there's a bird on the head. And so what does that do? It just tends to lighten things up, right? And Bernadette says, I love birds in general. I had a cockatiel that spoke daily to me, and she is deeply missed. I'm sure she must be. That must have been amazing. Maggie doesn't really say anything other than Maggie yet, but I'm wondering what your cockatiel said, Bernadette. And I also had a lovebird, the companionship of feeling a connection. Exactly. So one thing that I've noticed about having a bird on my head or otherwise is that she is a very, very big and constant presence, despite her little size. That she really, really, really fills up the house. And when she flew away for those few days, there was a silence here that was palpable. Even though I have a cat that I adore, overall she's pretty quiet and a whole lot less obtrusive than Maggie. And so a presence to a connection with another consciousness and a perspective. So for example, I mean, she keeps me really entertained. She's funny as all get out. So this morning, I was changing the shower curtain, and I had all the shower curtain hangers along the rail of, where the curtain hangs from. And so one by one, she picked them off and dropped them all onto the floor, one by one. And every time she dropped one onto the floor, she loves gravity. So every time she dropped one onto the floor, she just chirped and was so pleased with herself. Good morning, Lisa. So today's topic is a great one for you too, being a bird person. What if everyone had a bird on their head? How would the world be different? Because, Maggie's antics when she's chewing on my ear, she's standing on my head. I think that it makes for an opening in communication that might not otherwise be there, perhaps. And so, Lisa, what kind of bird would you have on your head if you had a bird on your head? And Bernadette says about her cockatiel, she loved Kenny Rogers and would request it daily. She drove our cat nuts with making race car noises. And if anyone came in, she would say, what's your name and what can I do for you? Hilarious personality. She sounds amazing, Bernadette. I wonder, how old was she? Maggie's just a baby. And Lisa, you probably know, when do they start speaking? I mean, she says her name, but she doesn't say much of anything else. Good morning, Andrea. What kind of bird would you have on your head if you had a bird on your head? Lisa says, I'm sure it would be an African gray. Yes, I understand that African grays are the sweetest of parrots. At least, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I've understood. I saw a video, a friend sent me a video of an African gray doing this remarkable stunt where they unscrewed a wheel, unlocked a pull lock, unlocked another lock, and then opened a door to get to a seed. It was crazy. I mean, I know humans that wouldn't have been able to do that, let alone seeing this bird do it with such efficiency. It was remarkable. Bernadette says, the cockatiel was around 1 when I got her and I had to cure her need to swear. She sounds awesome, Bernadette. That's amazing. That's a riot. So I don't know. I'm hoping Maggie gets more language. That would be amazing. I don't know how long cockatiels live. Supposedly, green-cheeked conures can live to up to about 35 years old, which is pretty old for a conure, maybe 25 to 35 years. So I don't know what she's going to learn, but Lisa, I'm going to take you up on your um, bird training expertise. Anyway, so what kind of bird would you have on your head? So Lisa says they'll speak when they're ready. If you notice her watching you and her throat moves, she's pinpointing and practicing to learn. Oh, that's cool. You know, I do hear her sort of practicing some things, you know, not quite words, but I hear her practicing sometimes. So that's heartening. I have a feeling she'll come out with full sentences. You know how some kids don't talk until they're 2 or whatever, and then they have a whole, or 4, they have a whole sentence that they talk about, you know, they're talking philosophy or something. Good morning, Dennis. Welcome, welcome. What kind of bird would you have on your head if you had a bird on your head? And what difference would it make in your life? If you had a bird on your head, what difference would it make in your life? So Bernadette says she did laundry with me and walked. She was about 6 when she flew out the balcony window when I had friends taking care of her. Oh my God, heartbreaking. I'm so sorry, Bernadette. I've been through that. It wasn't friends who let her out, though. It was me. That had to be hard on your friendship, I imagine. I'm so sorry, because I know how devastated I was when Maggie left, and how gifted I felt when she was returned. Good morning, Ruth. Is that Ruth or is that Dido? Good morning. How wonderful to have you here. We're talking about what would it be like if everyone had a bird on their head, and how would that change life? How would it change our interactions, our perceptions, our experiences? And I'm positing that it would make us certainly take ourselves, if not others, less seriously. And of course, I think that we would probably be sensitive, or would become sensitive to things that we wouldn't otherwise be sensitive to, or notice things that we wouldn't otherwise notice. But most of all, I think that there would be a bit more of the spirit of fun to things, and to our encounters with ourselves and each other with a bird on the head. So let's see. So Dennis says a cardinal from North Carolina would warm the art. That's awesome, Dennis. A cardinal. So cardinals are bright and beautiful, and I wonder what that cardinal, what would it be like? What would it say? So we get to have our imagined birds being our alter egos. So what would they be saying and doing? So Lisa says you can teach Maggie a tune or a whistle to identify you. This way, if she ever, God forbid, gets out again, I think that's what you're saying. This way you can put out that call and she'll be able to find home. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. What a great idea, Lisa. I can't whistle to save my life, nor do I sing very well. So we were talking about that the other day. But maybe the way that I call her, she can, I wonder if that would be identifiable to her. Interesting, very interesting. So Bernadette says about the cockatiel, we never saw it coming as she never did it before. So unexpected. And that friend and I were never the same after, I'm sure. I can understand guilt and resentment on both sides, and sorrow. I believe it was mutual. And yes, I can relate to heartbreak when it comes to our animal babies. Yeah, so our animal babies, you know, the greatest love and the greatest heartbreak. At least, you know, I have to say that I have had a greater attachment to animals in my life than I have to most people, that's for sure. Because the connection is so authentic. and unfiltered, right? It's unconditional. And yeah, I have had cats that it was a total love affair, complete and total love affair. And Maggie and I are getting closer and closer as time goes on, and she doesn't bite me as much. It's hard to have a love affair when you're getting bitten and made bloody on a regular basis, right? But I really do think she's so special, and I love her to pieces. So what would be different with a bird on your head? How would life be different? Because I'm playing with this idea. I think I'm gonna write a children's book about a bird on your head. And Bernadette says she needs to kiss softer. No joke. No joke. But she has a temper. Maggie really has a temper. And she will flare her wings out and kind of stomp around if she gets angry. And she'll get into a snit. And if I play with one of her pin feathers, to get the casing off of it, sometimes I hurt her a little bit, and she used to get wild crazy and draw blood in response to that. Now she has a milder response. Like she knows I'm not trying to hurt her. At least usually she knows I'm not trying to hurt her. So she's a bit more forgiving, but we're learning each other's ways. So a bird on your head. So what is the difference for you? Like, we talk about pretty intense things here on a day-to-day basis. How does having Maggie here mitigate that? How does it make it easy, more palatable, and how might a bird on our head in life shift things around? I've noticed that there's more receptivity, maybe a way to connect with each other more directly, because ironically, because we can connect with the animal friends, so there's when there's that connection with the animal people, then maybe there's a little more openness for the human people. So let's see. Rosalind says restaurants would have bird treats on their menu. Well, you know what? I have never seen any creature make the kind of mess that Maggie makes. I mean, my perpetual mess. She is a very, very, very sloppy eater. So I can't imagine what kind of restaurants, how they would manage the bird treat mess. Lisa says, you also may want to stop petting her under the belly and by the vent, because you don't want her to think of you as her mate. This will happen as she becomes sexually mature. Now, I thought I wasn't supposed to pet her on her back. I thought I could pet her on her belly. Now I'm all confused, because I thought you told me a while ago not to pet her on her back, so I stopped. And now I pet her mostly around her head. And what is her vent? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. So Bernadette says, my Casey would speak of things that were awkward, but allowed a conversation to start. So yeah, it's the same thing. Well, especially if Casey cursed. Casey sounds like a character for sure. But I noticed, like, when people are walking a dog, for example, people just take the liberty to go over and say hello and how's the dog and what a cutie, and it starts conversation, right? So our pet people or our animal people are really awesome social starters in so many ways, right? Because there's a point of curiosity. It's an inroad for connection. So really good point, Bernadette. I think we might be communicating more effectively. So what else about a bird on the head? I think I just love the image, I just think it's so funny that she likes to perch on my head. And it's probably even funnier because I have no hair. So she's just sitting there. But she does love hair. It's pretty funny. So a friend of mine was over helping me clear stuff out the other day, doing an act of great generosity for me to help me with that. And Maggie was climbing through her hair and nipping on her neck. And I got this photo of her that is so funny. She's going like this because Maggie's nipping on her hair, and you can see Maggie's like a profile just peeking out under her hair with this little evil eye look in her eye. It's very, very, very funny. So Lisa says, under the wings and by the vent, her cloaca, where she goes to the bathroom. Oh, okay. I don't really, okay, that's cool. She likes to put her butt in my face. She's doing it less so though, since I stopped petting her on the back as much. But that's good information, Lisa. Thank you for that. And Bernadette says, Casey would say, back off, I don't know you, if someone went to pet her. That's amazing. How did she learn that? I can't imagine how she learned that. I mean, do they need tons and tons of repetition to learn a word? I'm wondering about that. Or do they just pick things up like kids do, where you might say something that you don't mean to say, and then you hear it parroted back to you, no pun intended here, unexpectedly. So rubbing the vent against something is a form of masturbation. Yes, well, unfortunately, she objectifies me in that way sometimes. That much I figured out. So yeah, that's disturbing, and she's doing it less than she did, which is awesome. So maybe I'm doing something better. Bernadette says you had to ask permission first, which 99% of the time she would negotiate a Kenny Rogers tune first. Oh my gosh, she sounds like a pip. Amazing. What an amazing, amazing character. That's so funny. Bernadette says she just came up with so many things. She just sounds brilliant. And Lisa says, depends on the bird. They're just like children. So I'm getting to understand that Maggie is really smart. I know you guys who've been around with me here for a while. I used to get just beside myself because she was decimating this awesome night blooming cereus plant, and I finally had the genius not really, to close the curtain so that she couldn't get to the plant. So I closed the curtain, and she found her way in between where the two sheets of the curtain met, and she went and she started nibbling on the plant again. So I clipped it shut, and actually I put multiple clips there, and then she found her way between the clips. So she's very, very determined, very persistent, and she definitely has her own mind. And we're trying to find our stride. She definitely loves gravity experiments, just like kids do. She loves dropping things on the ground and gets a kick out of that. So Lisa says, Gracie, a good girl. Gracie, no bite. Then she drops blood. Oh my God. Only from my ex-hubby. That's hysterical. Gracie, no bite. That's too funny. So yeah, I'm surprised that Maggie doesn't say no biting, because she hears that all the time. In all different tones of voices. So I'm surprised she doesn't say that, or good girl. But so Bernadette says Casey, was it Casey? Just sounds like such a character, Bernadette. Oh my gosh. Bernadette says she would watch documentaries with me, so I assume some came from whatever I was watching. I only had to express a few things for her to pick it up immediately. However, you had to really watch what you said around her. I would imagine. Oh my gosh, she sounds like a genius bird. I think Maggie's smart, but I'm not sure yet. The jury's out. But anyway, I'm wondering, like what other kinds of what kind of bird might you have on your head? I think that this is just kind of a fun idea to play with. Like, how does it change our interactions? Bernadette says she was a beautiful teacher and a missed friend. I hear that, Bernadette. I can only imagine. She just sounds so spectacular and wonderful. And I'm so sorry for your loss and glad that you had the opportunity to be with her for the 6 years that you had her, or the 5 years that you had her. I mean, she just sounds amazing. Anyway, I think that's it for today, but I so appreciate this playful time and bird stories. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm Mira Rubin. This is the Core Connection, and I go live each weekday morning here on Enlightened World Network on the Facebook page and the YouTube channel, as well as I'd love you to check out the other awesome programming on Enlightened World Network, EWN One with the Earth, and Enlightened World Living. So until next time, Lisa says, I'll look for your questions. Oh boy, do I have questions. And Bernadette says, wouldn't have changed a thing. That's beautiful, Bernadette. Love to all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me and making my morning so wonderful. I hope that I contribute to brightening yours as well. So much love to you. And